So you've successfully launched a product on Amazon. You're rolling in the reviews, you're rolling in the revenue. Well, first of all, congratulations. Now is a perfect time to expand, grow, and scale your revenue. And one of the easiest ways to do this once you've found success with a hero product already is to simply add variations to that to grow and expand your catalog and your revenue opportunities. This can be a new color, this can be a new design, this can be a new style, but there's an age-old question and an age-old problem. Do you launch that new ASIN variation as its own, or do you merge it together with that existing successful hero ASIN and let them go together? Well, in this video, I answer that exact question. What are the pros and cons of each approach? Which strategy should you use? And most importantly, what are the step-by-step actions that you need to take to successfully launch a variation? This is probably one of the most asked questions I get from growing and seasoned sellers, and in this video, we're gonna answer it. Let's go. All right, guys, welcome back to Heist, the YouTube channel where we deep dive into strategic topics that matter when scaling and growing an e-commerce business, specifically on the Amazon FBA channel. Now, as I alluded to in the intro, one of the most important scaling strategies is to grow and build upon what already works. It's a lot of work to find a product that's successful. It's a lot of money to launch it, and it's certainly a lot of time and effort to actually gain that organic rank and all of those things that are critical for success on Amazon. So a very easy companion strategy is just to add on a variation. But a lot of people don't really know whether they should launch it separately or launch it together. So let's talk about what the pros and cons are of actually having a product launched together as a variant. What that basically means is you take that existing successful product, add on that new ASIN or that new product type as an addition, and there's one single product detail page that customers go to, and then they can select between the options. So first of all, the biggest pro undoubtedly is the fact that you actually get to take the reviews of that existing ASIN and combine it when somebody else sees this new one. So even if you have 0 reviews and you're just out of the gate with that new launch and you had, say, 500, 1,000, 2,000 reviews on that existing listing, well, guess what? The customer is going to see that already on that listing, even though it may have 0. So the embedded social proof that comes with that, the increased conversion rate is incredibly powerful. One of the key reasons there's a ton of advantages with that merge strategy. The next pro is the fact that you usually get a better combined conversion rate. So somebody may come on to buy your blue blanket and they see a pink one that would be better for their daughter and they buy the pink. But if they came onto that blue blanket and there wasn't a pink option, they may not have bought yours at all. They might have gone back to search. So the more options that you have, you tend to capture more of the sales opportunities from those customers seeking your product. And with that higher conversion, with that increased sales across both of them, you tend to get a lower BSR ranking on Amazon, which means that you have a more prominent position within the category you're selling. It's also typically way cheaper to launch. Because you've got this existing successful ASIN that's already humming on a lot of the core keywords, you can really have a targeted approach and only spend pay-per-click dollars on those unique keywords that you want to pick up with the new variant. So you don't need to spend pay-per-click dollars competing against yourself on the same keywords. You can really distribute your budget from a pay-per-click standpoint, which tend to mean a lot less expensive launch costs. And again, because you're spreading budget and using a hero to get sales on the variant or vice versa, you typically need a less marketing budget overall. So your tacos, your percentage of ad spend for both of your ASINs will tend to go down with the merge strategy. The next benefit is you can upsell or get a higher basket size. So you might have somebody that comes in to get your blue blanket and they love the pink one. They buy both of them together. There's more selling opportunities to combine the total value of each visit and the total value of each conversion. And then the final pro is really a benefit across making the most money on this product category as a whole, but you can have somebody come in on a cheap hero offer. So maybe you've got a low-end, low-price offer that you bring somebody in on. You don't spend a ton of money on pay-per-click for that because you're getting a ton of organic rank because it's cheap, and the cheaper products tend to have a lot higher sales velocity, a lot higher ranking. They need to spend less money on pay-per-click. They may come in and then you might have a premium option or a bundle option or something that upsells the customer to a higher ticket item, and you capture even more margin when they do that. So there's a lot of ways to make more money with a merge strategy, but it's not all roses and unicorns. There are definitely some cons. The biggest one, and not a lot of sellers know this, is that you can only rank one product per keyword. So again, let's say that you're selling a blanket and you're ranked really well with your blue hero ASIN on blanket. You can't rank both the pink blanket and the blue blanket on the term blanket. It's going to choose the product with the highest sales velocity, conversion, etc. for that search term. So let's say that both were selling really well. Well, guess what? You're only going to have one of them show up. Another troubling part of this fact that it's only one keyword for one ASIN is the fact that you actually don't control it. Amazon's algorithm is going to choose for which product product variant is going to show up. This can become really problematic from an inventory planning standpoint. Let's say that your hero product was the blue blanket and you're preparing for Q4, which is a big season. You order a whack load thinking that that's the one that's converting on all these search terms. And then your pink one that you thought was just going to be a small variant ends up overtaking it. You have way less inventory. Well, guess what? The pink one's going to show up on those terms. It's going to get that sales velocity, and you may be stuck in a supply chain conundrum with your inventory planning. Because they aren't split up and because only one can show for each keyword, you're going to have a lack of potential real estate for certain search terms and organic search that you may care about. Also, if you're building up a lot of branded search for your product, let's say that you've got 15 products across your catalog and one of them is a variation of 7 different products. When somebody types in your branded search term, not all of those variations are going to show up. It's only going to be one. Whereas if you've had them split out, you could have all 7 spots for those branded search terms. So this is definitely something to keep in mind if you've got a lot of branded search for your business. And then finally, once a new product is launched and merged together, you can't get access to Amazon's Vine review program, which lets you give product away to up to 30 people that are verified reviewers that can really help instigate initial review volume for your product. This is super important, this program, given all the crackdowns that Amazon's placed and how much they really ding people and how damaging it can be if you use review manipulation. Once you merge those things, you can't use a Vine program. Stay through to the end because we're going to talk about how to get around that. So with all of these pros and cons, what should you do? Well, in my opinion, 99% of the time, you should actually merge the products together, take that existing benefits that we talked about before on that hero ASIN, bring in the new one, have a less expensive launch, have the social proof of reviews, get higher conversion rate, and build out that new one over time. More specifically, the strategy that we do is we actually create a new separate variant to start, which is really important because the next thing that we do in this process is we actually sign up for up to 30 Vine reviews on that independent listing. So we create the new variation separately, we enroll in the Vine program. Then after that's all set up, we actually merge them together and prepare for a launch. And the launch itself is very specific when you're launching a variation because you can focus on really niche keywords or the ones that you don't want to really impact with your hero ASIN. You can use that isolated strategy with pay-per-click and external traffic to find those terms to launch with that new variant. Now here's the great thing about using that combined approach. If and when that new product, that new variant becomes successful, it's accumulated its own review volume, it's got good sales velocity, you think it could stand alone on even those hero search terms, you can actually split it up and then take advantage of all that real estate with both of the products. So we tend to do that over time. It's usually after about the 6+ month mark, we'll test that, we'll split them out, see if we can get all the pros of that unmerged strategy. And if it doesn't work, who cares? We can actually merge it back together. So that's the strategy that we actually use. I'm going to jump onto my computer now and go through this step by step so you know exactly the steps that you need to take to institute the strategy and launch a variation. Alrighty, so let's rifle through this action-packed step-by-step process so you can actually implement this variation launch strategy. I've got a listing variation creation and merge SOP here. If you want access to this exact file because you don't want to take crazy notes, hit the link down below and you can get access to it. So to start off, you actually need to set up the variation separately. And there's really 2 different ways you can do this. One is within Seller Central, which is the easier way that I recommend. The other one is a flat file setup, which I'm also going to go over here. So let's start off by looking at this option A, creating a new listing manually in Seller Central. Basically, you just need to go into the inventory, manage FBA inventory, edit dropdown, copy listing. We're then going to change the SKU, price point, and any of those unique things with the variant. Then we save and finish. So you're going to come in here to the inventory dropdown. You're going to go to manage FBA inventory, and then it's going to have all of your products listed here. And this is a process to adding a product variation that not a lot of people know about. If you come over here to the edit dropdown here, you hit copy listing, and it's actually going to recreate everything. All you need to do is change the SKU, some of those unique identifiers, if it's got a different price, a different color, etc. You set that all up. You change the launch date so they're well into the future, which I've talked about in my previous videos, and you're done. The key thing here that it's important to reference and leverage and ideally copy an existing listing is you get the same browse and search note. You cannot merge 2 listings together after this. They don't have that same search node. So this is a quick and easy way to do this literally in minutes, and it's headache free, and it gives you everything you need in terms of setup to merge them again later. But if you want to go the harder route, there's also a flat file process that you can use. So to do a flat file, you're just going to come up here to the reports and go to the inventory report section. This is a report that you used to have to ask permission for, but luckily Amazon's changed that. So you basically just come to the select report type, go down here to to the category listings report, set the date, just one that's more recent, so it's scooped in all the stuff in your catalog, and then you just request report. When it's ready, you can come down here and download the report. It's going to be an Excel file that you also have to reback upload and do an Excel format. But this is basically what it's going to look like when you download it. This is the SKU in question that we actually want to copy and create a new variation from. So what I typically do is I'll just delete all the other stuff out of there. I black this all out here, but basically the product type should be the same. You're going to need to do a new SKU. You're going to do the drop down of the brand name the same. Product ID is definitely going to be different. So you're going to need to have a unique UPC code to create this new variant. And then you basically may want to adjust your price. You may want to adjust some other things. So literally all you got to do here is just copy this sucker and paste. So it's super easy peasy. That's all you need to do. One other thing that's kind of important though is if you want to come down here to this update, partial update, just make sure that you actually select the update from the drop down here, because then it's going to know when you re-upload this file which one it needs to update. Then you just take that flat file, you save it as an XLS again, you go to this catalog, go to add products via upload, and then you just go to this upload your inventory file, and then you just drag that file in there, you save it, you can set an email alert to confirm when it's done, you can check the status to make sure that there are no errors when you uploaded that. But that process using flat files basically does the same thing as that copy within the Seller Central setup. We just prefer to do the first one because it's frankly easier, less headache, and less room for error. So going back to this thing, you've set up your new product independently using one of those two methods. So we can kind of close out step number one. Step number two is to actually do the Vine review setup for that new variation that you've actually set up. Again, this is really important. You cannot do this if you've merged them together. So you need to do this when they're independent listings first. So hopping back over to Seller Central, if you go down here to advertising Vine, click on that. Amazon will typically find one if it's already eligible here, and you can just enroll and select the quantity. If you don't see it here, you can use this enter ASIN at the top and click begin enrollment and then go through the setup. You can do up to 30 right now, and if you can afford it, if your product's not super high ticket, I recommend that you go all the way to 30. It's just the easiest way, the most inexpensive way to get quality reviews now on the Amazon platform. But Vine reviews are legit reviews, and they're people that review a lot of products. So you've got to have a good quality product. You got to make sure it's legit. There's no quality issues, etc. Because if it sucks, they're going to tell you it sucks. But generally speaking, in my experience, because we try to create really compelling offers, really high quality products, we tend to get fantastic deep dive reviews from people, oftentimes with photos and videos, and they can go a long way for helping instigate success and conversion rate and social proof with this new listing. So set that up. You may need to wait a little bit just to make sure that it actually gets validated and verified that you're good to go in the Vine reviews. Wait till that is done first, and we'll go over this next step here. All right, so after Vine setup, the third and final step is that we actually create a parentage. So think of it kind of like branches on a tree. So you've got a parent, which is like the trunk of the tree, and we're building these branches off, which are each independent listings that customers will see as options when they're on your product listing page for that parent. So we need to set up the parent, and then we need to merge those two products, the original product that's been doing well, as well as that new one that we've just set up. We'll merge them together as child ASINs. Now, this is something, even if you're scared of it, that you got to use flat files for. There's some ways to do it a little bit in Seller Central, but frankly, it's wonky and it's not the most foolproof way to do it. So if we go back, same process, you download your category listing report. What you're going to see now in here is we're going to see two of these different listings. So you can delete all the other ones that you don't care about. And then we're basically going to be creating a parent listing at the top. So all we need to do is just go ahead and again, copy one of these suckers here, paste it up above. You don't need to do much here. You can do the product type. You can put a SKU here. Brand name is going to be the same. Product ID you don't need, because a parent ASIN, it sounds confusing, but you're not actually selling it. No customer is ever going to see it. You really don't need to worry about doing a UPC, so you can leave that one alone. You do need to put in a product name. You do need to put it in a manufacturer, and you do need to put in the item type keyword. And ideally, you want those to all be the same as those independent listings that you've set up. Price doesn't really matter. Just throw up whatever you want on price. So the only other thing you need to do here, if we scroll all the way, and it's going to be different depending on what category you're in, but you're going to want to go to this variation section here, and there's just a handful of these ones that you need to put in so that Amazon catalog backend knows which one's which. So for the parentage, obviously this first one you're going to want to make the parent, and then these two down below you're going to want to make child variations of that parent. You're going to have the parent SKU here, and then you're going to have the relationship type here, and then the variation theme, whether it's a different color, whether it's a different size, whether it's a different style. There's a bunch of different options from this variation theme drop down that you select what the variation type is underneath that. and then you're basically good to go. You can go up here and make sure that that is a full update for all those instead of partial update to make sure that all of them change. Same exact process as setting up that flat file using the first process. You re-upload that, and then that's going to create the parent and then the two childs together. You can double check that this worked once both of those ASINs are live when you actually go to the product listing page, and you'll see all of those variations and be able to toggle on the same product page. So this is it. This is a simple step-by-step process on how you go ahead and set up this on the back end. Again, the strategy is set up a variation, get the Vine reviews linked up, ideally 30 Vine reviews for that variation. Once that's set up secure, you've got all your future start dates all good to go. Using a flat file, you create a parent and you create those two child relationships with the variation type. Upload that sucker, you now have a merged listing. 6 months down the road, 3 months down the road, a year down the road, whenever you think that that new child you've set up has found its own success, its own sales velocity, it's got its own review volume, you may want to split them up, which again, you can use the flat file, split them up, and then have the strategy of taking up as much real estate on as many keywords as possible. And guess what? If that doesn't work, you can use this exact process, change the parentage and link them up and merge them again, and you're off to the races. Simple, easy, and in 99% of cases, this is what works when you're launching a variation. All right, guys, well, I hope you dug that one. Again, this is a question I get all of the time from people not knowing exactly what to do. So now you know, at least the strategy that we've prescribed to and that I think worked for 99% of situations that sellers are going to have when they're expanding their catalogs on Amazon. Again, if you want access to that file, check out the link below, give me your email, I'll spam the living shit out of you, and then you'll get the file. Just kidding, I literally send like one email a week or every couple of weeks. I'm not a great email marketer, so give me your email, you get free access to the SOP. I think it's a pretty good exchange. And if you like this one and you're here for the first time, hit subscribe. We're also going to leave a video right here that the YouTube algorithm thinks that you're going to like. Until next Monday when we drop our next video, appreciate you guys coming. Cheers.